FIA rule shake-ups? Christian Horner's ready to turn it into Red Bull's advantage, and Max Verstappen. He's not holding back with a message for the team to step up. Red Bull's team principal, Christian Horner, is keeping a close watch on a major upcoming shift in FIA regulations set to impact the Spanish Grand Prix. This new technical directive targets wing flexibility, building on earlier in-season rule changes that already tightened rear wing gap allowances. After introducing a clampdown on flexi wings with Technical Directive 018, the FIA is now set to roll out even more rigorous static load tests for front wings starting in June at the Spanish Grand Prix. These tougher tests are a result of last season's fact-finding mission, which assessed the need for stricter measures. Though all teams were compliant with current regulations, the allowed flex on front wings will be reduced from 15mm to 10mm after studying their performance at high speeds. With rear wings already facing stricter scrutiny, front wings will now be under the microscope as the season intensifies. For Horner, this shift represents a critical moment to assess how these changes may affect competitors, as Red Bull looks to position itself firmly in the mix following Max Verstappen's victory at Suzuka. I think there's an unknown as to how it will affect the different cars, Horner explained to reporters in Japan when discussing the upcoming rule change. You can see that the operating window of these cars is very, very narrow, and that front wing change is quite a significant one, so it will be interesting to see how and who it affects. There's no guarantees. We know areas of the car that we need to improve, and the whole team is very focused on them, but I think this championship is all going to be about maximising your opportunities. In the first 3 races, which was a very close second in Melbourne, China Sprint, we were competitive in the first half, faded in the second half of that race. China Grand Prix, we had a competitive stint on the hard tyre there to P4, so there are a lot of positives to take, and we know if we can unlock some of the potential on this car, it puts us right in the fight. In a separate conversation with Sky Sports F1, Horner further emphasised the significance of the upcoming regulation changes, suggesting that they could significantly alter the competitive landscape. With front wings being crucial to aerodynamic performance, he noted that the tighter margins at the front of the grid could see some dramatic shifts in the running order, depending on how teams adapt to the new rules. I think what you have to remember is this championship is a marathon, he said. And if last year taught us anything, it's that things can change very quickly. There's very little between the top 4 teams at the moment, and it's going to be about development. We have a big regulation change coming at race 9. You know, how is that going to affect the run of play? So it's all about maximising your opportunities, and this weekend we've done that. Horner also had something to say about McLaren's cheeky strategy call in Japan, which to him made no sense at all. Running within the typical undercut window behind race leader Max Verstappen, McLaren initially called Lando Norris into the pits. However, Norris stayed out, while third-placed Oscar Piastri pitted soon after. This forced McLaren to bring Norris in at the end of lap 21 to prevent him from being undercut by Piastri. Red Bull, in turn, reacted by covering off Norris with Verstappen, who rejoined just ahead after a slightly slower pit stop. Verstappen went on to take the win, with Norris and Piastri rounding out the podium. In the aftermath, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at McLaren's initial decision. It was clear that as the pit stops were approaching, McLaren had elected to pit Oscar first, but prior to that they called a dummy with Lando that really, to us, didn't make any sense. Because he would have just come out in traffic, so we stuck to our guns and didn't react to the dummy. Because he would have just come out in traffic, so we stuck to our guns and didn't react to the dummy. They then pitted Oscar, and Lando pitted the following lap, so it was a matter of covering Lando, but we didn't have a totally clean pit stop as we had a reserve crew with 2 members missing. Lando got close-ish at the exit, but was never alongside or anything like that, and with the hard tyres for 30-odd laps, Max had the pace to cover whatever McLaren could throw at us. At different times, 1 minute it was Lando, then the next minute Oscar looked very quick, but overtaking throughout the field was negligible. Now about Verstappen's win in Suzuka. After finishing P5, P8 and P5 in the 3 practice sessions, Verstappen managed to outpace the McLarens to secure pole position. His controlled drive on Sunday then delivered a 4th consecutive victory at Suzuka. Following the race, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner revealed that there had been significant experimentation with Verstappen's RB21 throughout the weekend to ensure he was in the best position to challenge for the win. Reflecting on Verstappen's performance, Horner shared with reporters, "We literally turned the car upside down setup-wise. He's worked very hard with the engineering team. Finally, we were able to give him a car that he could make use of in Q3 yesterday, with the most stunning lap, and then converted that today in a hard-fought victory in a straight fight, puts him 1 point behind in the Drivers' Championship." Verstappen himself acknowledged the significant turnaround compared to Red Bull's performance in practice ahead of Sunday's race. While the Japanese Grand Prix was a challenging one for overtaking, he couldn't help but praise the result he was able to achieve, highlighting the team's impressive recovery and performance on race day. "It's been a crazy last 48 hours to turn the situation around compared to Friday. I'm super happy with what we achieved. We definitely overperformed. I think the colder conditions helped because we didn't overheat the tyres, but I'm very pleased with the result. Winning here against the McLarens, I think we can be especially happy. We still have our problems, but with everything that happened in the race and the tyres not overheating, we still have work to do on the car's balance, but we're pushing to fix it. But what more can I say? I'm very happy with today's result. Now it's time to focus on next week." Verstappen's success at Suzuka resulted in huge celebrations from Red Bull and Honda, as it was the Japanese brand's final home race in partnership with Red Bull. The win came as a surprise, especially given the issues with the RB21 and the unexpected driver swap between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda ahead of the event. Red Bull made the decision to swap drivers after a challenging start to the season, prompting an emergency meeting following the Chinese Grand Prix. Verstappen, who attended some of those meetings, shared that the team has seen a significant area of improvement in both performance and morale. Speaking to Viaplay and, in response to a question about whether the in-house discussions delivered what he had hoped for, Verstappen said, "Do you know what is a bit of the problem at the moment in the world? A lot of people, first of all, want to work from home and no longer at the factory. I think that's already a big problem because that makes you lazy. Then you're not fully occupied with what you have to do because at home you're always more easily distracted anyway than when you're with colleagues at the factory. Sometimes it's nice when you're at the factory then to just look people in the eye. Then you can always convey a bit more information than what sometimes happens here via a camera or a headset. I think that is sometimes very important to keep doing that, more old-school communicating." So how would you score Verstappen's performance in Suzuka this past weekend? Let me know down below, and thanks for watching, everybody.